Hello, ladies. Welcome in. Who's joining me in today's video? If this is the first time that you are seeing a video of mine or attending a live training of mine, or you've seen a reel or a short or a post, I can go on and on. Welcome in. Thank you for stopping by. My name is Avi, and I am a life coach for professional women. So I help professional women have a work-life balance by teaching them how to embrace their feminine nature, take care of themselves, and of course, enforce boundaries. And one of those strategies that I teach them, I'm going to be hinting on it today. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how you can enforce your boundaries in the workplace, or scrap that. We're going to talk about the feminine way to enforce your boundaries in the workplace without being perceived as a flirt or as a bulldog and an aggressive woman. Okay? And the reason why I decided to do this video is because I did a part 1 on Tuesday. So if you haven't seen that video, make sure you check it out. In that video, I talk about the barriers that stops women from being able to enforce their boundaries in a way where they are not being perceived as cool, calm, and collected. So if you're a woman who's in corporate, or you're a professional woman, or you have a job, one of the challenges that you would experience, or you may have experienced in the past, is that there's this perception that if you enforce your boundaries, people are going to view you as aggressive. And so what a lot of professional women do is that they prefer not to enforce them, or they enforce them in a way where people will label them as aggressive. And I actually saw this in a thread where a woman labeled them as a bulldog. And that term is a little bit offensive. It's a little bit offensive. But the reason why I use that term is because I want to explain what the bulldog behavior is that many women are currently doing, but they don't know that that's the case. And so it's stopping them from being able to enforce their boundaries. And what we're going to do in this video, I'm going to teach you the proper way, the feminine way, that you can enforce your boundaries. And like this, nobody's going to call you difficult. Nobody's going to call you aggressive. Even if they do, there's no basis for it, because the things that you're going to be doing, the strategies that I'm going to teach you, the human mind has not been conditioned to view them as aggressive behavior. Okay? So what am I talking about? Without further ado, let's get started. So one of the first things about being able to enforce your boundaries in a more feminine way, let's talk a little bit about the misconception here. This does not mean that you flirt your way to enforce your boundaries at work. That's not going to work, because who are you fooling, right? People can see through that. So because some women think that if I'm not acting in an aggressive manner, then I have to flirt my way to enforce my boundaries. And the energy of flirting and the energy of enforcing boundaries, they're two different kinds of energies, and they communicate two different things. So if you try to do it from a flirtatious energy, it's going to be perceived in a different manner, which a lot of women are not going to like. A lot of women are not going to like that, right? If you do it from the energy of, aggression and touting your capability, and like, how dare you talk to me, and you're throwing your hands, and you're like, I'm gonna kill you, and things like that. Well, I shouldn't say that, but I'm going to do this to you, and you're threatening them. That would be like a typical bulldog behavior, right? If you're doing it from that energy, it's also not going to give you the right response that you're looking for, because first of all, people are not influenced by making threats. When you try to make threats to people, you put them on the defense, and that gives you the opposite reaction. So that's not going to work either, right? Another way that women do this is they do it from a place of stress where they're tired and exhausted. And typically, when they're trying to enforce their boundaries in that manner, it comes across like that. And so, when you are, think about it this way, ladies, think about it this way. When you are saying something, but your energy is different, it communicates distrust, it communicates like you're not serious. It communicates like you don't know what you're doing. It also communicates um, to the human mind now. People are not thinking about this. It's just the way they're receiving you. It feels like you're lying. And when we perceive that someone is lying, we don't respond in the way that they would want us to respond. We feel like they're deceiving us. We feel like it's some sort of deceit. And so when the human mind perceives deceit, then they don't respond the way that you want them to. So I hope you guys are getting this clarity. I'm trying to use the right words to explain it, but based on the way that I used to behave in the past, the way that I would, show up is I would have this strong woman facade. So what is a strong woman facade? A strong woman facade is wearing a mask, pretending that I'm a very strong woman, you cannot talk to me and whatnot. If you talk to me, this, all of that, right? The boss babe and whatnot. However, beneath that mask was a very weak woman that just was extremely insecure. And that insecurity caused me to put up that masculine mask. And people can read through that mask because a woman was not designed to be like this 24/7, right? It's just not normal. It's not normal behavior. So when we put on that mask, we are unable to be able to take these actions that will help us enforce our boundaries without being perceived as aggressive. Ladies, you know why I laugh. I laughed because for years I struggled with this. For years. And at some point it felt targeted. I started feeling like a victim. Why is it just me? Why is it this? This person hates me and things like that. And if you are in that state of mind, I hear you. I hear you. But the next thing that I want you to do is take a step back. Take a step back away from all they're targeting me. It's because of my color. It's because of my dress. It's because of my makeup. Take away all of that and just put yourself in a state where what can I do to be able to feel better about myself and truly show up as the woman that I have been designed. Put yourself in that state of mind for 1 second. Because when you are in that state of mind, it's going to be easier to be able to take the steps that I'm about to give you to enforce your boundaries. All right? So, without further ado, let's get started with the first step. So, step one about enforcing your boundaries in a more feminine way. This means that when the event, the encounter occurs, you pause, you tap into your body, and you act from there. Why? Because boundaries are energetic. What does it mean when I say boundaries are energetic? This means that your energy will communicate the boundary that you have. And so, step one in being able to do this in a more feminine manner is getting clear on what the things are that you don't like. So I like to use this word. What are you available for? What are you not available for? Because if you don't know the things that you're not available for, when they actually happen, you don't know how you're going to respond. And if you are doing it from a place of stress, then what I talked about in terms of being, annoyed and getting angry, you're going to act from there and it's not going to be perceived or received in the right manner. Okay? So this is important. What are the things that you just don't like? What are the things that if somebody does it to you, you're like, absolutely not. Do not do that. Like for me, I've said this on multiple videos, right? There's certain kinds of people that, you can call them last minute and make plans with them, and they're okay with that. I am not one of those people. I'm not. I'm not one of those people. So I know for me that if you call me last minute and say, AB, can we go this, that, you're likely not to, I'm not even gonna pick up the phone. Let's simply start from there. I know this. But years ago, before I owned myself, I would feel like I have to do it. I have to then dress up last minute and go out, and then I'll go with the person, then I'll be complaining, then I'll say they're always calling me last minute, and I'll go on this tangent and say they're always violating my boundaries and things like that. Whereas if I had just owned the fact that I'm not available for last minute plans, do not call me. If you call me, the phone is likely not to be picked up. Then that's the enforcement right there. The phone not me not picking the phone is the enforcement of the boundary. It's in my energy. It's in my energy. Another way this could show up is me picking up the phone and say, oh, hey, I have plans, right? Whether it's plans to paint my nails or get a facial, whatever, I have plans. I'm not available for last minute things. So these are things, I know this because I know what I don't like. And you have to be clear. If, for example, you are at work and you don't like it when your coworker interrupts you when you're talking or something like that, know this now. Do you like that? I use that example because most women don't like it. But if that's something you don't like, if that happens, the next step, what are you going to do about it? That's the next step. Okay? Because as a feminine woman, the reason why I use the word feminine here is that you are connected to your body. So you are able to respond authentically the way that you're feeling. So let's use the example of, at work. Somebody interrupts you while you're talking and you don't like being interrupted. First step is I don't like people interrupting me when I'm making a point, okay? The next step, what am I gonna do about it? If you want to correct them right there and there, if that's the response that you're choosing to take, then you note it. Okay, so if they do this, this is how I'm going to respond to that, right? So for me, for example, if that happens to me, it's in my energy that I'm not available for it. So what I would typically do is pause, remain calm, allow them to finish what it is that they're saying. You guys, I'm sorry, right? I think my hair just entered my eyes. Okay, I'm gonna pause. I think my hair just entered my eyes. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, we're good. Okay, we're good. All right. So what was I saying? Coworker interrupts me and I'm not available. Yes. So if that happens, what I would typically do is, pause, allow them to finish, and I think the lash. Oh, okay, you guys, I'm gonna be back. Just give me some second here. Let me go fix my lashes that is entered my eye, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'll just pause the video here and I'll be back. Okay, and we're back. Sorry, there was some sort of hair or something in my eyes, but anyways, all good now. So back to the point that I was making, right? So if that's a situation that I find myself, and because I know I'm not available for that, then the response is to pause, because I'm not available for someone to talk over me. So I usually pause, wait for them to finish, and then I continue what I was saying in the same tone, in the same manner, and finish my point, right? Typically, people get the gist of that. But another thing that you can do, you have to decide this for yourself, is how are you going to respond to that? Are you going to yell at them? Do not do that. Are you going to get upset and get mad and don't speak? Because I used to do that. Don't speak. Okay, I'm not going to speak anymore. They don't respect me and things like that. Are you going to do that? Or are you going to pause and in that moment realize that, wait a minute, I'm not available to be disrespected like that. So I'm not going to act in a way that's also disrespectful by yelling at them. I'm going to allow the emotion or the feeling of disrespect pass through, and then based on how I'm feeling, I'm going to communicate from there. So that's how you use your feminine energy to communicate or action or enforce your boundaries. Okay, so let's just recap. If you are just joining the video or something of that nature, the first step, we're talking about how to essentially enforce your boundaries in a more feminine manner so people don't perceive you as aggressive. And the first step is understanding what it is that you like and you don't like. Another way this could be viewed as is your values. What are you available for? What are your values? What are your pet peeves, and what are you not available for? The second step is being proactive on how you're going to respond to that. The better you are at managing your emotions, the more you're likely to be able to speak from a place where you're cool, calm, and collected. And a quick trick that you can use is to pause for like 5 seconds. Pause for like 5 seconds when that happens before you speak. Okay? The third step is, once you know how you're going to respond, is actually then taking the action. So I think I already described the full steps for you guys, but I want to outline it like that. You are committing to taking the action regardless of whether you feel fear or not. So this third step is where many women miss it, especially those who are learning feminine energy for the first time, or those who feel like because they're a woman they cannot speak. This is the part that they miss, because on the other end of a wounded feminine energy woman or wounded feminine women, these are women that don't communicate their boundaries. They're passive, they're doormats, they're quiet. So when they get into that place where they need to enforce their boundaries, they allow the fear stop them. And what that does is it programs people to continue to behave like that towards you. That's not a good thing. You do not want to do that. This is also where flirting your way will break down. Because if you are flirting your way and you're bringing that energy, that's a different flavor of feminine energy. And in this scenario, it's not the appropriate one, especially in the workplace. It's not the appropriate one to do because it communicates something different. So the energy that you want to be able to have here is what I call the intellectual queen energy. Your sassy girl energy can also come here, but sometimes she gets a little bit too feisty. But the intellectual queen is the queen energy of balance. So you were in your masculine energy when you were talking, when you were speaking, and then somebody interrupts you, you pause, you connect to your body. How am I feeling? Body says we don't like that, but let's pause, allow the emotions pass through so we can be calm, and then whatever action we choose to take, we take it. Once we're able to enforce that, even if we're feeling fear, because you're connecting to your body, you can feel where that fear is coming from. Sit with it. All of this is taking place within 5 seconds. It doesn't take that long. You're sitting with that fear, and body goes, yes, we're feeling fearful, but we need to act. And so you take the action from there. And in this phase where when you are enforcing your boundaries in a more feminine manner, the energy that people receive is direct, it's clear, it's calm, it's cool, it's collected, and the response that you would typically get is people are either apologizing or they're like, most of the time they're apologizing, they're feeling remorseful, And most importantly, they are aware that you do not like that. And so they're less likely to repeat that in the future. That's it. It's not it doesn't take a lot of instructions to do this. It just takes courage. And one of the ways that you have that courage is by embracing your feminine nature, is by tapping into your feminine energy and connecting with your body and feeling that fear when it comes up and acting and taking the action in the presence of the fear. That's how you communicate your boundaries in a feminine manner. When you're communicating your boundaries like that, it is very unlikely that people are going to call you aggressive, difficult, rude, disrespectful, because you are not communicating the energy of a rude, disrespectful, aggressive behavior. Okay, ladies? That's it. That's it. I know, something that we've struggled for years. Nobody tells you how to do it. And then you learn how to do this. So this, I hope, first of all, I hope this was useful, because I know a lot of you struggle with this. And it's always easier said than done. So the final phase of all of this is practice. There are certain circuits, they call them pathways in your brain. These are going to get stronger the more you get used to doing this. The first time that I had to enforce a boundary, I was like biting my nails, I was pulling my hair. I was like, oh my gosh, they're gonna hate me. They're gonna call me this, call me that. But you know what I learned? I learned that people appreciate someone that is a healthy person, even if they themselves may not be healthy. But when they see you as a healthy person, you earn their respect just like that. You don't have to put on a mask. You don't have to act like you're the strongest woman, right? You don't have to do any of that. You don't have to put up a facade. You don't have to write an angry email. I know sometimes you get triggered and you do that. Okay, that's fine. It's called being human. But you don't have to feel like you always have to do that. There's also another thing that I want to quickly address in this video as well. I don't want it to get too long, but I've seen a lot of women saying the only way they've been able to enforce their boundaries is because they have been doing it from an aggressive standpoint and they feel like there's no other way. Let me tell you something, ladies. If you continue to do that, it's not just about work and your reputation. It's about the person that you're becoming. Every action that you take, whether you're at work, whether in your personal life, it forms your character. It forms the woman that you are. It starts becoming your identity. When you start acting like an aggressive, disrespectful person because you think that's the only thing that will get you your respect, yeah, you may get it temporarily, but your reputation and more importantly, your character will change. And you're going to carry that kind of behavior into other aspects of your life. And it's going to affect them. It's going to affect your relationships, your personal, your family, your friend. It's going to affect them. Because you can't be acting one way and then expect to act another way in a different scenario. You can act like you might be a good actress, but the longer you do something, it becomes you, and it sips into your subconscious where it becomes automatic. That's the bigger danger that a lot of women are not seeing. I know it feels cool, it sounds cool to say, hey, I act aggressive, it gets the job done, I'm a strong woman, but in the grand scheme of things, you're letting work destroy your character. You're letting work destroy the beautiful being that you are. It's not worth it. And I can talk about this because that used to be me. That used to be my track record. And when I discovered that this was making me that, I'm like, no, you're here for bigger things. Your purpose is way bigger than allowing yourself change and become this person that you don't want to be. So I thought I was going to address this in a different video, and I probably will, but I've been seeing this a lot, and some women are wearing it as a badge of honor. There is no honor in being a disrespectful, aggressive person. I'm sorry, I'm gonna put it there. There's no honor about, there's no honor. I do not see it. There's no honor there. And you don't have to do this just because you want to prove yourself as a woman or as a strong woman in the workplace. You are a strong woman. If you're a modern day woman, you've got it, girl. You've got it. You don't have to put on a facade. You don't have to put on a character. You don't have to do any of that, right? You don't have to do any of that. You just have to be you. And people will get it, and people will respect it as well. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have questions, a lot of the things that I taught you today, this is the kind of work that I do with my clients. So I hold their hand and I walk them through the process of being able to become that healthy, whole, balanced woman that has her career or her business going for her, and at the same time has her feminine side that she uses to connect with people and build healthy relationships and enjoys life. So these are the things and the processes and the strategies that I help women implement. So if you are currently struggling with either having boundaries, you're feeling overwhelmed, or you're just feeling like you don't know who you are as a woman and you're feeling lost, this is my specialty. I used to be that woman, and I transformed myself, and I now do the same thing for other professional women. So feel free to send me a DM on one of my handles on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Yes, I'm on LinkedIn too. And yeah, or put it in the comments, of course, if you're seeing this on YouTube. But other than that, if you guys have any additional questions, feel free to let me know. Other than that, I will see you when I see you. Bye, girl.